Hi, it's Anne. So our video now will be about, or today will be about what to say and what not to say when someone's had a loss, to someone that's had a loss. Probably 90% of the things we say, it might even be a little bit more, to say that we say to people aren't helpful. We mean the best. We don't know what to say. I have people come up to me all the time. And, a friend of mine's sister died or whatever. I have to go to the funeral. What do I say? And I just say, just keep it short. Keep it small. If you don't know what to say that. Say, I don't know what to say. I just have no words for this, but I love you and I'm here. Say it. If you don't know what to say, just say that. Don't think of something else. Because we all, I want to do it too. I'm a nurse. I want to fix things. That's what I do for my, for a job. That's what I've done all my life, is fix things. But there's no Band-Aid you can put on this. So, first we'll go with what to say when someone has a loss or someone dies. Very few things. It's a very, very short list. I tell people that, just to say I'm sorry. And sometimes we have to be careful with I'm sorry. I've seen it on the other side. I've sat with parents, or I've sat with people who are grieving, especially parents. I've sat with a lot of parents in my job. And there is a look, a sound, a facial expression, and words that people do when they come in and talk to people who have lost, especially their babies, but with any type of loss. So, I've seen people walk in the room and 90% of them say, I'm sorry. So they all do the head tilt and the eye squint, and they just, I'm so sorry. And after a while, I've been doing a support group for parents for about over 15 years now. And every now and then it'll come up in the group, it's almost like a comparison or a one-up thing about this is what someone said to me this week that was so bad, or this is what someone said that helped, or usually it's the bad side. But a few times people have said, if one more person says I'm sorry, I'm just going to scream. And I say, whoa, 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 that's kind of my go-to phrase. I tell people, just stick to I'm sorry and leave it go. And they feel like it's pity. And it comes across like that because, oh, just so sorry. That tilt and that, that look looks like pity to them. So even though I still say I'm sorry to people, I try to follow it up with, I'm just so sorry you're going through this. I say to many people, I'm sorry that you have to meet me. No one wants to meet me. I'm kind of the angel of death showing up at your doorstep. But, I'm just so sorry that this happened to you. But, I'm here. If you want to talk, I'm here to listen. I'm here to try to help you. That seems to make it better. I once met a doctor who works in palliative care, who works with a lot of grieving parents in a children's hospital. And he said something that really kind of made me think. He said, I never say I'm sorry. And I thought, wow, what? What do you say then? And he said, I say, I wish. And I thought, And he just says, I wish I had better news. I wish I didn't have to tell you this. I wish this wasn't happening to you or to your child or whoever. So it does kind of soften it a little bit more than I'm sorry. But whether it's I'm sorry or I wish, still kind of keep it short, and if you're going to add something, just add something very short. Just, I'm sorry you're going through this. I'm sorry that you're hurting so bad. I tell people, after, many of my losses, things people have said and done, and I was truly on my own. I was the queen of writing in a sympathy card or saying to them at the funeral, if you need anything, call me. Anything. If you need anything, call me. I'd write my address and my phone number in the sympathy card. Nobody ever called. Grieving people don't make phone calls. I say that over and over and over. It's way too much energy to dial a phone. Even in our digital age, or even just saying a person's name to your phone, it's too much energy to pick up a phone and dial someone, call someone. So nobody's going to call you. So I learned to say, now, obviously you're going to do this with close friends and family, not, as a nurse in a hospital, I certainly wouldn't do this, but I'd say, in a couple weeks, I'm going to call you and we're going to do lunch. Whether I come to your house and I bring some sandwiches over or something for lunch, whatever you want. Or if you're up to going out and we go out somewhere for lunch and we just sit and talk. Usually it's more comfortable, in their house or something where you don't have a waitress, coming over and, do you need anything else? Not bothering you, and you hate to take up somebody's table in a restaurant. But, I'll just say to them, if you need anything, I'm going to call you in a couple weeks and we'll just sit down and have lunch and just talk. That means a lot to people, that actually being proactive on this, that I'll do this for you instead of, if you need me, you come and get me, because they're never going to ask. They're rarely going to ask. And I tell people, even the parents that I work with, call the people that said they would do anything for you. They want to have them come over. You can do my laundry. You can do my thank you cards. You can clean the house. They would never do that. Most of us would never do that. So, just very, very few things that are going to help. I'll say a prayer for you. Whether they're a religious person or not, just saying that you're going to pray for them. That's really nice. That's really nice that she said that. I'll be thinking about you and I'll keep you in my prayers. Again, not a lot of things to say that are going to help. We all want to help. We all try to gather up 6 words that sound really good and put them together. And that's what ends up happening to these families. That people just, and I said to them, I know that 98% or 99% of people mean well and they want to help. And they want to help so bad. They just gather up 6 or 10 words and say them to you. And, there's really no words that are going to make this better. If I had words that are going to make it better, I joke and say I'd be Oprah. I'd come in here and make everything better and it would all be done. But it's not like that. There's a lot not to say. The number one, I don't know if I can number them, but one of the things that I say, never start any sentence of advice or comments to a grieving person with "at least." Never start any sentence with "at least." Well, at least they had a good life. At least you can get pregnant. At least you have your husband. At least, first of all, it kind of minimizes their grief. It not kind of minimizes their grief. It does minimize their grief. And it doesn't help anything. People do not want to hear "at least" anything, because how do you know at least they could get pregnant again? How do you know that it'll happen? Maybe they've been trying. Maybe things have gone wrong and whatnot. And, at least someone had a good life. Yeah, that might sound good. And most things we say, like I said, they're not meant out of ill will. Most things we say, I tell people that are grieving, would sound great on a bright and sunny day. When the sun's out and everything's going well, they would sound beautiful. It would sound beautiful. They had a great life. Of course they had a great life. They lived to be 80, 90 years old. They had a good life. They had many years. At least, whatever. It sounds good, but not when you're grieving. Many people throw, I tell, especially with young parents, they throw, or anybody with grief, they throw a lot of God and angels into things. I believe in God. I'm a very spiritual person. I go to church. I have angels all over my house. But when I'm grieving, when I'm really in that raw, new grief, I don't want to hear any of that. I've been mad at God several times in my life. I kind of tell people that I went to a support group years ago for young widows. I lost my first husband when I was 24 years old. It was run by a nun, and the nun said, it's okay to be mad at God. He's got broad shoulders. And if you had any kind of relationship with him before, he knows you'll be back. And he'll be waiting there with open arms like he always is. That's how our God is. And I really held on to that. I really put that right in my pocket and kept that. And I said, and I've come back to God. And it's hard to think about that. It's hard to think about, and many of the parents that I deal with, and it's hard for me to, even hear sometimes from them, because it just, we all have our own beliefs and whatnot. And they say, why would God kill my baby? Why did God take my baby? Was I a bad Christian? Was I a bad Jew? Was I a bad Muslim? Was I, I've been a good person. And why did God do this to me? Why does God kill babies? And I every now and then when it gets to be too much, I'll say to them, I don't know all the answers. I don't know most of the answers. I have a lot of questions. I'm writing them down for when I get up there someday. Hopefully I get up there someday. And, But I don't believe that God kills babies. I don't believe that God, takes babies away because you're a bad person or does things to punish you. Things happen. Life happens. Everyone, I believe in my heart that every person, every fetus, every baby, every whatever you want to call them, every person has a purpose in life. And whether that purpose is to live for 8 weeks inside of his mom, or whether it's to live 103 years on the earth, everyone has a purpose. And in some way, their life, however, how short or how long, touches someone in some way. So I said, my God doesn't kill babies. My God holds your babies, maybe until you get there someday. But things just happen in our lives and we don't know why. And many things we can't explain, and pregnancy loss is a huge one we can't explain. So try to stay away from God and angels. God needed an angel. That's why he took your baby. At least your baby, now you have an angel in heaven. All those kinds of things. Not helpful. And I've had a few grandmoms come back at me and say, oh, I know God has a plan. And I said, listen, I believe some of that in my heart. But right now, in the raw part of grief, it doesn't help. It really doesn't help. So the least we say, the better. The more quiet and the more listening that we do helps more than saying anything we can say. I had someone once tell me in my grief that God must really love you to do this to you. I thought at the time, I don't know. I think God sometimes has a bad sense of humor in my life. I kind of joke about it like that, but it wasn't so helpful at the time. But I knew where it was coming from. I knew what was in their heart when they said it. So I just kind of said, oh, thanks, and just kind of brush that off. And that's what I try to tell my parents, and that's what I'll try to tell you. If you are the person going through this and you're the grieving person, just brush it off and know that they meant well. Say thank you, or just, nod and walk away. Because they really want to help, but no one knows what to say. It's such a hard thing. It's a very hard thing to go through yourself and to help someone go through. It's very hard to feel so helpless. And so I could go on a list of what not to say, but the video is already too long. So just keep it down to very small things to say, and don't try to fix it because you can't fix it. Just be there. All right, that's enough for today.